Pastor Tim here, hey, with my buddy Layton and also my buddy Elle. I don't know if you can see her because she's running around like a wild and crazy dog. We just ran into a couple Britneys and she was in heaven playing with them. We're on the trails out here at Building 50. If you haven't hiked them, you've got to hike these trails. Layton and I are first going to talk about the power of friendship. I'll let Layton start off here because Layton and I have been hiking together, talking together for, we think it's 5 years. And how long you been married?
3.5 years.
3.5 years. So it started a long time, and I believe in the power of friendship. Every Christian should have friends in their life, older friends, younger friends, peers. You should have the whole mix of them to make a difference. Go ahead, Layton.
Yeah. So I was telling Tim actually this morning how our relationship started as a mentorship and still is in many ways. And Tim was doing premarital counseling for me. And from there, our relationship morphed into a friendship, and it's been one of the most important relationships of my life. I guess Tim could speak if he gets the same out of it, but it's for my marriage. My wife Chelsea, I know, is probably even more grateful for Tim than I am because he's been such a powerful influence on my life and has challenged me in so many ways. And when I'm straying to the left or to the right, which is so often and so frequent in our current world, Tim's friendship and the friendship of others has always been a centering force on my life, and he acts as a counterweight to all of those ideas and social media influences and media influences that would pull me away, and he centers me on Christ and on what's true. So,
and say it was true. Like today, when I met Layton, I wanted to kind of like debrief. I had a really difficult weekend. I had a friend that got COVID, and then he got worse and worse and ended up on a ventilator up in the Grayling Hospital. And then on Saturday, I got a phone call asking me to come to the hospital to be with him, to hold his hand, to pray with him as they removed the vent, and he died. And Sunday, if you saw me at church, I might not have been the friendliest person because I was grieving heavy. And another person who's precious in my life is John Becker, and he works on the staff doing worship. And we went on the trail not too long ago, and we talked about depression. I want to read a quote to you from Charles Spurgeon, and he said this of pastoral ministry: "Our work, when earnestly undertaken, lays us open to attacks in the direction of depression. Who can bear the weight of souls without sometimes sinking to the dust?" I know that's often true with me, and I think that's true with every minister, that there are moments where we just crash. And so talking about Elijah, we did that on Tuesday night in our first Tuesday prayer time. But Elijah, he was a man just like us, and I think this is where it comes from, because when he had such a giant victory over, first of all, the prophets of Baal, he prayed and rain happened, all of that kind of stuff. He ran with his chariot. He was filled with the Lord. And then what does he do? Jezebel says, "I'm going to kill you," this terrible queen person. And he immediately is afraid, and he goes and hides, and he complains to God and says, "Kill me because there's nobody left." Well, I had a motorcycle accident, and I actually had that kind of depression, that darkness, like my life's over, my ministry's over, it's all done, there's not going to be a future for me, which was a lie from Satan. Elijah was believing a lie. Remember the lie he was believing? I'm alone, there's nobody left. And then God reminded him, that's not true at all. I have 7,000 people who haven't bowed their knee. Well, I wrote this. Pastor Stanfest, it was Christmas, I hadn't walked yet, I was still in a wheelchair, but he asked me to come out of my house and lead communion at the Christmas Eve service. And I don't know if you remember that night, that was the first time I stood up. And I wrote the 3 candles. Let me read it to you, but it expresses my battle and my depression in a very profound way. When I began this journey, I was presented with the most precious gift, 3 candles. These were the candles of faith, hope, and love. Everywhere on my path of life I went, they were a light to my path. I enjoyed their warmth and basked in the glow of their light. As I traveled on the path of life, I faced many obstacles. There were mountains to climb. Sometimes I would run to the top of mountains and rejoice in the glorious view. Then it was back to the valleys. In the valleys, I met many challenges, but I also had the companions who walked with me step by step through every obstacle. And all along the way, faith, hope, and love guided me. Recently, on a cool, clear summer day, I encountered a raging wind. It was upon me before I could react. It tossed me about with its winds of confusion and pain. I spun around in the darkness from the whirlwind. From within the whirlwind, a mocking voice spoke. It laughed at my pain and confusion. It told me that there was no hope. It grabbed for my candle of hope. I screamed in sorrow as the candle blew out. The evil voice raged once again, telling me that all was lost. I reached out for the candle of faith and held on with all my strength, but the whirlwind spun harder and faster on my weak, broken hands, and I could no longer hold. The candle of faith blew out. The voice from within the whirlwind laughed heartily and said, "Give me the candle of love." I shook with fear. Hopelessness and confusion swirled around in my mind, but at this darkest moment, a mighty voice spoke to the whirlwind. "Nope, the candle of love is not for you to take. Go away. This child is mine." Then he leaned down to this broken vessel and said, "Be calm, my child. Your journey is not yet over." He lifted up the candle of love, still burning, and lit the candles of hope and faith again. This is why I can stand and sing to others caught in hopelessness and despair. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. Won't let Satan blow it out. I'm going to let it shine. Let it shine. Love you all. If you're fighting depression, I can tell you, like me, I was fighting it over the weekend. You have to find somebody you just walk and talk with and to breathe, and suddenly hopelessness restores. Don't live alone in your darkness. Gather together with people that love the Lord and let them relight your light, and most of all, let God relight it. You take care. Bye-bye.